call this meeting to order at this time. Let us please stand for our invocation, our pledge allegiance. To the great maker of all, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain that you've sent to replenish this earth, as we believe that you replenish us every day. We welcome you into this meeting to have your way, to lead us and to guide us with your all-seeing eye. We thank you. We thank you for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Florence, South Carolina. And it's our desire that this city be a shining light to all those around us as we continue to move forward, advancing the things that's best for the citizens of Florence. So you're welcome into this meeting this day to please have your way. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Mayor, I have a request that we move.
Before we do that, got some requests here already, but what I want to do at this time is to ask if there are no objections. We have a request to move items number D and E of our resolution forward to the front of our agenda to come after appearance before council, and also to move our report from Mr. Tracy Huggins forward to come after the resolution coming after the appearance before council. Are there any objections to making that move?
No.
Hearing none, those movements will be made. Councilman?
Yes, I'd also request that we move resolution item B to the same, that it be heard before the introduction of ordinances.
If there's no objections, we'll move item B of the resolution to follow behind the resolutions of D and E. Are there any objections? Hearing none, resolution 2024-06 will follow behind the resolution listed at D and E. Okay. So at this time, we have approval of our minutes. Do we have a motion?
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Thank you, council, for making those adjustments and also approving our minutes. Next, we have a special presentation, which will be a presentation of the USTA Southern Outstanding Park and Recreation Department Award. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Davis to please read the information and prepare to call the appropriate peoples for it.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. On January 20th, the City of Florence was honored with the 2023 Outstanding Parks and Recreations Department Award at the USTA Southern Annual Meeting in Atlanta, Georgia. The award recognizes the Florence Athletic and Sports Tourism Department's overall excellence and exceptional commitment to the growth and development of the tennis in this community. Each year, USTA Southern recognizes individuals, programs, and events for their contributions to tennis across the 9-state southern region that includes Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. This is the first year that USTA Southern has presented the Outstanding Parks and Recreation Department Award, and the fact that Florence was selected above numerous larger communities is a testament to the Department of Athletics and Sports Tourism's impact in the community through programming and partnerships. We'd also like to thank the Florence Tennis Association for nominating the City of Florence for this award, particularly Mr. Ernie James and Mr. Paul Pitt. Now, this time, Madam Mayor, I'd like to call city staff and Mr. James and Mr. Pittman in front so they can accept the award.
Will all the named parties please come forward?
say thank you to the City of Florence Parks and Recreation Department. As a representative of the Florence Tennis Association, I relish the relationship we have with these people because they make it possible for us to achieve our mission, which is to grow tennis. And in addition, they also help us grow tennis outside of the Florence area and bring real economic benefits to the Florence area. So thank you very much for what you do and continue to do.
Any other you want to say anything? If not, thank you to the whole of the organization. Thank you for the nomination, but more importantly, thank you for what you do every day to make all this possible. We know that we're here as a body, but you're the ones who are on the ground doing the work. So we thank you. We thank y'all for the nomination as well. And continue to do the great job that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, at this time, we have appearance before council, and we're asking that each individual, as you come forward to speak, please recognize that there will be a 5-minute presentation time, and it will be held at the discretion of this office to whether or not to modify that time. Please note that we do have a time clock that will start at the time when you come forward to speak. So at this time, we have first Mr. David Hemmingsen, who will be speaking to the council regarding the CARE program. And Mr. Davis, who will be operating the time? You got it, Patricia. Okay, thank you. Is Dave here? Dave Hemmingsen? Is Mr. Dave Hemmingsen here? Okay. He's not here at this time. We'll move forward with our agenda. Next, we have Mr. Ernie James and Mr. Paul Pittman from the Florence Tennis Association to speak to the council regarding tennis in the city of Florence. And what a great time for them to come right after they nominated and got an award.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council people. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you about a topic that's near and dear to me, and you guys obviously know, you've seen me here before, and that's to talk about tennis here in Florence. So we thank you for your support, and we want to update you this afternoon on the state of tennis in Florence. The Florence Tennis Association has worked closely with the city's leaders over 3 decades. During that period, tennis has grown significantly nationally and here in Florence, and transforming itself into a much more diverse sport that is now most frequently played, listen to this, in public parks. Our goals are to grow tennis in Florence and to make it a sport for everyone. We know our counterparts among the city staff share these goals, and we are grateful for their support. Together, we have given our citizens exceptional facilities and programs and made our city a hub for Southern and South Carolina tennis. Thank you for your leadership that has made that possible.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You have before you 2 documents. One is the Florence Tennis Association's 2023 report on the state of tennis in Florence. The other is a document that outlines the programs presented by the Tennis Association. There are also a couple of small handouts that have to do with the health benefits of tennis, which are considerable. I'd just like to highlight a few things that are in those documents very quickly. We estimate that last year 8,800 people played tennis in Florence. The economic impact from tennis tourism was $6.5 million. Our Ron James Youth Tennis Program, which the council honored with a resolution in March of 2021, presented basic tennis to over 800 area children since it was founded in 21, well over 400 of them last year. Finally, tennis is by far the best sport in America for health and fitness at any age. We encourage you to read through the documents about the health benefits of tennis and to join us on the courts. Thank you.
Okay, and finally, we'd just like you to continue to support us, specifically in this area. We just reached an agreement with City Parks and Recreation to begin a tennis program at Levy Park. As you guys are probably aware, we've got 2 tennis courts at Levy Park, but we've had no programming there. So we've reached an agreement to begin programming there, so we're really excited about that. So we're asking you to support that and endorse that activity. Then we have future goals to bring tennis to North Florence. Every time I ride by Old Jones Park, I see all that open land. I say, I already see tennis courts there. Again, that's our goal, to bring tennis courts to the community so the children in that community would be able to walk, ride, and begin to enjoy the sport of a lifetime, which is tennis. Before we go, though, we have 1 minute 38 seconds. The award was given to Florence Tourism, Sports and Tourism. Tourism means we bring people here to Florence to spend money. And we have with us today one of those gentlemen who is the tournament director for at least 5 tournaments here in Florence every year. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about the economic impact that that brings. His name is Mr. Jonathan Barth. He's a tennis legend here. He comes all the way from Kiowa Island to bring events here to Florence. Think about that. He chooses to come here to Florence because of the relationship we have with Parks and Recreation. Jonathan.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that I bring 5 tournaments a year here so far. I've done so since 2018, 2019, through mutual friends who have asked to bring higher level tennis to Florence, and I have a way to facilitate that. So this weekend, for example, I have a national level 3 18 and under event where we'll have college coaches recruiting the players at the Florence Tennis Center. 256 families will be here throughout the weekend, and with just the 5 tournaments that I bring here, it's over 1,200 tennis players or families with over $700,000 of economic impact to the community, and that's just from my very unprofessional assessment, being a director of tennis at Kiowa Island. But I know that we're thankful to have these events here. Florence is a great city to have it. We work real well with the Florence Tennis Center. Rob Hill and his staff are very accommodating. So again, thank you for letting us invade Florence with these tennis tournaments. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you to everyone. And before you leave, I'm going to ask if the council needs to respond. I know Councilman Jabali, you want to address, so recognizes you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and Ernie, of course, thank you for all that you do, and gentlemen, appreciate your assistance as well. To the tournament issue, anybody, and I have to remind people about the facility. I mean, so many people in Florence were like, I know Timrod Park has tennis courts and all, but where is this tennis center? And so for those who have not been out there to Cashua and out there at Lucas Street, where the huge sports complex that's out there, which has so many other things in addition to tennis out there, take some time. Please go out there and look, because it's an amazing set of facilities out there that we as the city of Florence are very, very proud of, and we're so glad that you're taking advantage of it. When I was out there not too long ago, drove through and encountered this family that was there for a tournament, and they were in from North Carolina, and they were spending the weekend there. They had 2 daughters that were involved in tennis out there, and they were saying, well, what college is this facility associated with? We're trying to figure it out. And like, no, this is City of Florence facility. They were blown away, absolutely blown away. Loved the way that they were treated, loved the professionalism. They said they had not been to anywhere in North Carolina, much less South Carolina, that had the kind of professionalism in the way the tournament was run and the attention to detail and the facility. So it was a great combination. Hats off to all of you for all of that. Ernie, I have a question for you you may not like, but I'm going to pose it to you anyway, because myself, along with every other member of council, we get hit up all the time by pickleballers. And so I know that there's a relationship on the courts and the use of the courts. Do you have any feel for how that interaction will work? Because I think we as council would appreciate getting some understanding on the use of those courts between tennis and pickleball, if you don't mind giving a 2-minute kind of summary.
I'm going to step in on that one if you don't mind, sir.
You're letting Ernie off the hook.
Yep, and I'm doing it because I chair the USTA Southern Task Force on Advocacy, and our first advocacy mission was to figure out how local tennis supporters could deal with the very impressive growth of pickleball. So I'm pretty familiar with how that works.
Thank you.
We appreciate everything the city's done so far in terms of balancing the two sports. We know that the pickleball folks are strident, to say the least. We know that it is a rapidly growing sport. Our statistics show that tennis in the U.S. is still larger in terms of population. And we're growing too. We're growing at a very impressive rate. But we are concerned about the future, and we certainly want to encourage you to follow what the USTA is putting out as guidelines. Very simply, the two sports need to coexist, but not necessarily at the same places. And I say that because pickleball is loud, because pickleball has a higher injury rate too, but also because pickleball folks and tennis folks work with different sets of etiquette. Basically, the USTA says both sports should have more facilities. And one way to do that is to look at what you can do with pickleball. It can go into unused storefronts, empty parking lots, virtually any place where you've got hard stand. Tennis, of course, takes a little bit more infrastructure. Both are expensive to do, but what we would encourage the city to do is to look at ways to accommodate both sports in ways that don't take away from either. Certainly, our mission is to grow tennis. Their mission is to grow pickleball. We have a second mission, which is to make tennis something that helps the...
It's been a couple of months, maybe since last year, so we do have the understanding of knowing how to separate both of them. So that's something we're actually working on now. And before you also depart, with the programming that you're doing already at Levy Park, I want to encourage you to also to look at Northwest. Those two particular courts was taken up a couple of years back, but when they were removed, there was supposed to be a process of looking at having young people who want to participate with tennis be transported from the Northwest Park to the tennis center. So as you're looking at your expansion, I would ask that you look at that and see what you can do with that. And Councilmember Neesmith Jackson, that park is also in her area. So let's look at how we can actually connect them as well while you're looking at connecting North Florence. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Barnes.
I too want to just thank you all for what you all are doing. I understand that it is you all's plan to expand. You were looking at North Florence. You are looking at North Florence Park right now so that we could build the interest in this program, getting more people out to exercise. So we just thank you so much for your interest in not only this sport, but the health of our community with this exercise program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
And I just want to add to that, the health part of it. It sold me on how much longer you live once you're doing tennis. That sold me right then and there. So I know it will be a great asset to our community and bringing that type of exercise and workout to our community. So I'm excited about it. Please let me know what I can do.
Chair recognizes Councilman Smith.
Mr. James, I want to just thank you as well as everyone else, but I want to personally thank the Tennis Association for thinking about East Florence and North Florence and expanding into our communities. That is a huge need for our children as well as anyone of any age, but to expand into that area and for you guys to truly think about District 2 and District 1, we deem it a pleasure, and we hope to partner with you in the years to come to make that a huge success.
That's our goal, is to make tennis a sport for everyone. The current president of the USTA likes to describe tennis as a public good. It does good for the public. So we think that means all of the public. So we're going to do what we can to get everyone in Florence involved in playing tennis. And what we're trying to do with our NJTL, not only does it promote tennis, it promotes academics. And the two go hand in hand. The statistics say children that play tennis do better academically. So that's another big plus that we want to communicate to the community.
And once again,
One more thing before we leave, I would like to point out to you and thank the tennis folks are here in the audience. We have members of our Florence Tennis Association Board,
Would y'all
members of
please
our
stand?
Ron James Youth Tennis Program Board, and tennis players here.
All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for all that you do and everyone else who are doing here. And I know you've been doing it for a good while, and the communication's always been well between your organization and the city, and we're looking forward to continuing that relationship. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll be back in May, National Tennis Month. Proclamation.
Thank you. All right. I will ask again, is Mr. Dave Hemmingson here? If not, that concludes those appearances before council, and I'll give a moment as we're clearing the chambers. So council, at this time, we proceed to the changes that we made in the agenda. First, we will have resolution number 2024-08 is a resolution to proclaim February the 26th through March the 1st, 2024 as Montessori Educational Week in the city of Florence. And I will ask that Mr. Davis come forward, please, to read that resolution.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution to proclaim February 26th through March 1st, 2024 as Montessori Education Week in the city of Florence. Whereas, based on her observations of children and the manner in which they learn, Dr. Maria Montessori developed an innovative philosophy of education in the early 1900s that continues to influence learning across South Carolina, the nation, and the world. And whereas the Montessori program, available to children from birth to 18 years, utilizes materials, techniques, and observations that support the students' natural development, encourage their learning, independence, and self-confidence, and advance the principles of peace through responsible citizenship. And whereas the mission of the Montessori School of Florence is to make available to the children and families of Florence and its surrounding area both preschool and elementary education of the highest quality, consistent with the methods and principles of Montessori education. And whereas the Montessori School of Florence has educated many young people in the community that have become successful citizens, parents, employers, and employees. And whereas the Montessori School of Florence is committed to connecting all students, regardless of race, gender, religion, or national origin, and has made this commitment part of their mission. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence does hereby proclaim February 26th through March 1st, 2024 as Montessori Education Week and commends the Montessori School of Florence for their contributions to the education and formation of the youth of our community. Resolved this 12th day of February, 2024.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. We would like for any representative who are here to please come forward, and I will ask that Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson please go forward to present the resolution.
How many of y'all today wrote letters? Because we received a bunch of letters, and I read them, and I loved them. And it just showed me the passion that these students have. I'm gonna get in the middle. The passion that they have about the Montessori school and everything that they learn. I learned a lot reading you guys' letters, and I want to thank you. I learned that they don't do homework, and I didn't go to Montessori school because we do a lot of homework, and so, but the hands-on experience, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing with our community and the kids. Thank you so very much. And because of your letters, we made Montessori Week Education Week. So thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
And can I say thank you?
Yes.
Well, thank you. My name's Elizabeth Kahn. I'm the director at the Montessori School of Florence. These are our sixth graders, plus one fifth grader and one fourth grader. All of our upper elementary, which is fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, wrote letters talking about what they appreciate about Montessori. Part of it was that we had to do homework, but it also they also talk about a lot of other things that they appreciate. The piece that we do teach, and the one-on-one interactions they get with their teachers, and we're just so proud of them for having taken that on and for writing these letters, and we're so happy to be here today. So thank you very much for recognizing it. We are having an open house during Montessori Education Week, so if anyone wants to come and see the magic that we do, please come by and check us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you, Councilwoman. At this time, we are prepared to move forward with our agenda. Next, we will have resolution number 2024-09, a resolution of recognition for the induction of Darrell Page into the South Carolina Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. I will ask Mr. Davis to please read that resolution.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A resolution of recognition for the induction of Darrell Page into the South Carolina Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Whereas Coach Darrell Page is widely known and respected in Florence, South Carolina, and is a longtime resident of the community. And whereas as a veteran teacher and coach with over 30 years in the profession, Coach Page has seen success throughout his career at McCall High School, Orangeburg Wilkinson High School, Wilson High School, Lower Richland High School, and West Florence High School. And whereas Coach Page landed his first head coach position at Wilson High School, where he led the Tigers to 13 playoff appearances, 3 region championships, 10 Florence City championships, and 3 lower state championship game appearances, and claimed the title of 2007 South Carolina 3A state champions. And whereas in 2016, Coach Page began a new journey at West Florence High School as the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach, where his expertise continues to have a positive impact. Since he joined the program, the Knights have had 6 playoff appearances and 4 Florence City championships. And whereas Coach Page's track record of success earned him the designations of 1996 Region 5 4A Coach of the Year, 2003 Region 6 3A Coach of the Year, 2005 Region 6 3A Coach of the Year, 2007 Morning News Coach of the Year, and 2007 South Carolina Association of Coaches Statewide Coach of the Year. And whereas throughout his many seasons, Coach Page's leadership and selfless commitment to the game and his student athletes have contributed to his enduring success as a coach, earning him the just respect of the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence does hereby recognize Coach Darrell Page for his induction into the South Carolina Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame, and thank him for his many years of leadership, encouragement, support, and guidance to the student athletes of the City of Florence.
You've heard the resolution. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Let the record reflect that the resolution has passed. And we will ask that Mr. Darrell Page please come forward, and I will ask that Councilman Smith please go forward to make the presentation.
Coach.
To you, Coach Page, we want to thank you for all your years of service to the students of West Florence and Wilson. All your dedication has truly paid off for being honored inducted into the South Carolina Hall of Fame. I'm a product of, I'm one of your products and one of your, and thanks for mentoring these young men and women and to help them become better citizens, not just in Florence, but throughout the nation. So we thank you on behalf of the city of Florence.
And if the coach or any representative, you're welcome to speak if you so desire.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Just a few words to say that Mr. Brooks hired me over 30 years ago, and Florence has become my home. Since I've been here, I've been married. Me and my wife have gotten married, had 2 children, and raised them here in Florence. Florence is truly home for us. Just to be recognized right where you're from and what you've been able to accomplish through this community. I can't say enough. When you look at 2 of your council members, I remember when they were in school at Wilson. And now they're councilmen, they're city leaders. It's just a lot of pride. And I'd like to thank the city of Florence, just the entire Florence community for everything. Thank you again.
And before you leave, Coach, Councilman McCall would like to address you.
Yep, Coach Page. I wasn't athletic enough to make the team, but I would say a true testament to not how your character is on the field, but how you place those values in those players off the field.
Yes,
I don't think you know, but to this day, as a matter of fact, as similar as last night, we had players calling some of your plays Z Black last night, where there's basically it's emulating you as a man, and that goes on from since we were in high school to today. So your impact on those kids is instrumental, and continue doing what you're doing. It's a pleasure to have the city recognize you, man, because you're one of the true legends here in the city of Florence, and just giving you flowers while you're still here.
Thank you,
So
Councilman.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Barnes.
I too just want to thank you. I was long gone when you got there, but I got to know you on a different level as a church member.
Yes, ma'am.
And that what you've done there, you carry wherever you go. And so we just want to say thank you for all that you do, because it means a lot to know that you've instilled and they are carrying what you've instilled in them.
And on that behalf, thank you so much for all that you do. And on my behalf, between West Florence and Wilson, I know some of the children that you mentored and played the sport under you. So thank you, and we're just gracious to have you as a part of our city.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, we have resolution number 2024-06 as a resolution to state the support of the City of Florence for the Clemente C. Pinckney Hate Crime Act H-3014 and to request approval of said act by the South Carolina Senate. At this time, we're going to ask Mr. Davis to come forward with that resolution. And as Mr. Davis has approached, he'll prepare to read that resolution into our record. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So we have a motion in.
Second.
Yeah, we have Braddock and Neesmith Jackson. At this time, we'll get Mr. Davis to read the resolution.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Braddock. Resolution to state the support of the City of Florence for the Clemente C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act H-3014 and to request approval of said act by the South Carolina Senate. Whereas the Clemente C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act H. 3014 adds penalty enhancement for violent crimes in cases where the victim was targeted because of their race, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, or religion. And whereas the Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act is named after the Reverend Clementa C. Pinckney, who was one of 9 people killed in 2015 when a gunman, motivated by racial hatred, opened fire at a Bible study at Mother Emanuel Baptist Church in Charleston, South Carolina. And whereas the South Carolina House voted on March 8, 2023, approved H. 3014 by a bipartisan vote of 84 to 31, and whereas the Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act H. 3014 is currently pending in South Carolina Senate, and whereas every member of the Florence County delegation to the South Carolina General Assembly, both Republican and Democrat, voted to pass H. 3014 or has expressed his support for this bill because hate is not a bipartisan issue. Whereas the members of the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina, wish to express their support and ask the South Carolina Senate to pass Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act H. 3014. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence supports H. 3014, the Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act, and hereby requests the South Carolina Senate to approve the Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act. Resolved this 12th day of February 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Davis, that reading of the resolution. We do have individuals signed up to speak. We have Senator Mike Rickenbach to speak in reference to the resolution. I'm going to ask that the senator please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I must say it's nice being on this side of testimony as opposed to sitting up there, but it's an absolute honor and a pleasure. When I heard about this resolution coming to the council today, I thought it might behoove you or be helpful to come and kind of give you a landscape of where the bill currently stands, House Bill 3014. So as a vice chairman of the Florence County Legislative Delegation, I can kind of tell you where we stand right now. There are 9 members of the Florence County Legislative Delegation. There's 5 House members and 4 senators. Of those 5 House members, you've got 2 Republicans, and in the Senate side, we have 1 Republican. I'm pleased to report that House Bill 3014 has received bipartisan and full support from the Florence County Legislative Delegation. So on the House side, Representatives Jordan and Lowe, who are your 2 Republican House members, voted for it. On the Democrat side, you've got Representatives Alexander, Kirby, and Williams voted for it. On the Senate side, myself as the Republican senator voted for it, and our 3 Democrat senators, Senators Sabb, Senators Johnson, and Senator Williams have all voted for it. By the way, Senator Williams expressed his remorse for not being able to be here today. For those who may not be aware, Kent Williams, as the senator from Marion County, actually covers East Florence and North Florence. So he and I share the city limits from a standpoint of the Senate delegation there. The next step on the hate crimes bill, House Bill 3014, is for the bill to receive what's called special order. So my Senate Judiciary Committee passed it out of the Senate. We were able to do that last year. Now we need the bill to receive special order. One thing that you as the council and the mayor could do to help this bill come to fruition is when you know you have counterparts in other part of the state who have senators who may not fully understand or be in favor of the bill, encourage those constituents to reach out to those senators. It's a very narrow margin right now in order for the bill to receive special order. I think largely some of the issues we're hearing is that folks don't completely understand the bill. It's an enhancement bill on a violent crime. It doesn't criminalize speech. It doesn't criminalize thought. It's an enhancement on a violent crime. And the bar has to be shown that it was motivated by terror and by hate. So whereas all 9 members of the Florence County Legislative Delegation, which is incredible to have bicameral and bipartisan support all for it, What we really need are members of the delegation and other parts of the state to understand the bill. Any questions?
Any question from the council?
I'd just
Chair
like to
recognizes Councilman Braddock.
thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to thank the senator for coming today and his beautiful wife Sharice as well to just explain that, because there is a lot of confusion. But I'm very pleased that as a council and as a delegation that we all agree that this is something very important to our state and our community, and I appreciate you, taking that role and leading that fight for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Chair
you, Councilman.
recognizes Councilman Jabali.
Senator, as always, you and your lovely wife, I love running into y'all anywhere y'all are, so, which is everywhere. But thank you for being here, and thank you for shedding some light on it and updating us. I would be very appreciative when you say reach out to people in other parts of the state, well, gosh, I wouldn't know where to begin. So if you have, you know how to reach me. If you have some specific people that need a little motivation and need a little help and encouragement to get them over the top, and you'd like my assistance, I'd be happy to do it, and I'm sure other members of council feel the same way. But if you could just share some of that information in terms of who we need to reach out to, I think that would be a big help for all of us.
Yeah, Councilman, thank you for that. I think to your point, knowledge is truly power here. And for those who understand that it's an enhancement bill on violent crime and it doesn't criminalize speech or thought, I think there should be a unanimous vote once people truly understand it. So I think the Florence County Legislative Delegation can be a microcosm of what we'll see statewide, that hate isn't a partisan issue or a cameral issue.
And just as an example, I read with total disgust and dismay what happened to the Jackie Robinson statue. And of course, what happened to Mother Emanuel is just, beyond words. But this is a recent example of the Jackie Robinson statue. And there was someone who was a unifying figure for sports, for, progress, for so many wonderful things. And then to have his statue, dismantled and burned and all of what happened to that was just an example, in my mind anyway, of what we're talking about. Obviously desecrating or, destroying public property is a crime in and of itself.
Right.
But this would be something on top of it. And that, to me, may be an example that might be something that we can share with the community.
Sure.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
Thank you so much for coming and explaining that. And one of the things I was going to mention too is where we need to put that support, or where that support needs to be leaned on. Who needs a little extra push in getting this done? Because I'm more than happy to do that too. So I appreciate Mayor Pro Tem, because that was definitely my suggestion, where we need to put more push and emphasis to within the state to get this thing done.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman. I've had several constituents who have reached out to that point and have had questions about it. And so if you have constituents, even if they are in Senator Williams' section of Florence, I'm always happy to talk. My wife, Sharice, is always happy to help explain it. Really, the senator of Florence County is sitting over here, which would be my wife. And then we can help provide clarity and an explanation to it. Because once folks understand that it's simply an enhancement, when the motivation is terror and hate, again, it's a bipartisan issue.
Thank you for your support.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Barnes.
I want to thank you for having the courage to come here today. It's not often that we have the senators to come in on the local level to
Understand where we are in the process as we